Alright guys, so I'm starting the video, and here's the announcement for the project. Just change my name to your name in the project. If my name is there, you will lose marks. Okay, so today's topic is AWS VPC, and that is virtual private cloud. And then there's next week is week 14th, or second last week, so we're gonna still do labs on next week, and then on week 15 we're gonna have the final quiz, and the last week 23rd would be the submission date for the project as well. So you still got 2.5 weeks to do the project. Okay, so AWS VPC, or virtual private cloud. So what is a virtual private cloud? And we're gonna so there's that link in OneNote about this, and also I'll just grab some more of it here. So ultimately, we're going to be creating, a local network in the public cloud. Obviously, I will explain everything to you. So, but I'm just putting some of the material here that would be beneficial. And there's a diagram that I want to place here that we need to talk about, and this is this diagram. So first of all, what is a VPC? Okay, so there's a question here from David. How do we do the project outside of lab hours with no permissions? Okay, that was the same question asked in yesterday's class as well. So obviously, when I give the project to be done in off hours, so I should give permission. So yes, you have all the permissions, guys. But if you don't, just communicate with me, email me, WhatsApp me, and I will at once give you permission. Actually, it's given to everyone, but I'll just double check that now. If the project has been given, obviously you need to have permissions. So let me just go there and check it out for you. So yeah, and in the groups, if I log in first. Oh, that's a difficult one. Okay. It's V26M. There's 4E5NM8. Alright, so let me just check it out for you, and if you're doing a project and you don't still get it, just communicate and I'll just quickly resolve it. So Wednesday, okay, you got EC2 running full, auto scaling, which you don't need, elastic load balancing, yes you need, S3, you got all the permissions already, right? So the Wednesday group is having already permissions. Welcome. Okay guys, so let's go ahead. I think, well, since I gave the VPC permission already and you just logged in now, so you don't need to log out, log in again now, because you should have the VPC virtual private cloud full permission. So what I'm going to do is, hopefully you're logged in already. So we're going to connect to the that's it. Let me just remove all that. What's wrong with me? Oh wow, doesn't like it. Okay, anyway, first of all, if you're logged in, so we're gonna go to the services, right? We're gonna go to the services. Oh, about the project, one more thing, guys. Announcements after announcements. So Wednesday, oh, Tuesday, right? No, Wednesday. So one more thing is that well, all the instructions are there already, but anyway, when please do the project in one session and then delete your resources, and so do not leave VMs to continue the next day. So you need to do it in one session. You have 1 or 2 hours free, then just go for it. Otherwise, don't leave any machines for tomorrow. Oh, I will just continue right now. I'm just gonna shut down the machine, and so don't do that because it does cost, and obviously that would be loss of marks as well if you were the cause of the whole balance to be wiped out for others to use. So there's good auditing going on there now. So just make sure that when you have straight 3-4 hours, just start the project and finish in one go and delete the machines right after that, right? Okay, so let's continue. Can you give us access to the billing section? Okay, that's a weird question. Why do you need access to billing section, Alexander? So this is billing. So we can see our balance. I don't think it's gonna show it that way. But what my message is, do not keep the machines turned on. That would be the worst thing to do. And once you're done, delete the machine right away, right? If you've taken 20 screenshots or 24 screenshots, that's it. Delete the resources, right? But it doesn't show the balance, although you can see this. If you go to the top right, there's that my billing dashboard, right? So if you can access that, then you're good. Otherwise, normally I keep an eye on that, right? So on the top right here, and then click my billing dashboard, right? So hopefully you have access. Otherwise, this is how AWS made it, and they've configured it. If you have access, that's good. If you don't, okay. So yeah, this means this is not provided by me. I mean, this is provided by AWS. I gave actually full IAM access. That's part of it, but AWS has created this education package this way. So again, what I'm saying is, we do the lab 4 hours, right? So you can take 2 to 3 hours. It's not even that long, but just delete the resources afterwards, and don't forget any resources turned on. Even shutdown costs, so just delete the shutdown, right? It's not like if there's 1 cent or 2 cent there, and we're gonna just lose a mark. So don't worry about that. As long as we are being careful, we're good. Don't worry about that you're gonna incur $100 or $200. As long as you're following the rules, you're good. If it doesn't give access, it's actually not from my side, it's from AWS side. But I can watch over this. That's what I can say, because from my side you have full access to IAM, right? Okay, so guys, let's carry on. It's a big lab, and yeah, one more about this lab, VPC. It's a very critical lab. Yes, we know that. Okay, what's the problem with this particular lab is, and yesterday's batch also had to go through it. and it was that you won't all be able to do the lab. So what I will ask is, it's a limitation from AWS for the education package. All other things you were able to do yourself, but the VPC is something that AWS doesn't allow us to create 15 VPCs or 23 VPCs. But what is VPC? We're going to talk about that. And then what will happen is that you all won't be able to create that. You will be getting an error. So my suggestion is that in fact what you will do is, wherever I say take a screenshot, you will have to take a screenshot of my screen. And that's how you're going to complete the screenshots. But my suggestion is to understand it's a very critical concept for your job environment as well, for your job search as well. So if you are not able to take your own side of screenshots, don't worry about the marks. Just try to understand all the concepts for the quiz and for your job as well, right? And for the certifications, those who are going for certifications. But otherwise, this is some limitation that AWS Education has put, that we can't all create VPC, although you can just try to follow me whenever I'm doing the lab. But if you're not able to do that, then sit back and try to understand wherever I say take a screenshot of my screen, right? And that's how you can fill up all the screenshots there. Okay, so that said, and I will remind you at that time as well when you're saying, oh, I got an error, so then I will tell you, okay, this is what I was talking about. Anyway, but what is VPC? Let's discuss it. It's critical for you to understand. And virtual private cloud, it's a private network or private LAN in public cloud. So what does that mean? If we suppose you have AWS cloud, and it's not suppose, you actually have, and my suggestion is those who are really thrilled about doing this, you can, some few students actually create their own AWS 1-year subscription, but you have to just give your credit card there. You just have to be careful there as well. It's 1-year free subscription, but you can't leave your virtual machines running. Just delete it right after you've used it, right? Even in your free 1-year subscription that you get from by connecting your credit card, right? But anyway, this is something that is more, if we understand, the better we are. AWS, once you're there in AWS, we are working inside an environment called default VPC. Now, I've been talking about VPC when we were selecting virtual machines. So, okay, so there's a default VPC inside which we were working, right? So now we need to really we need to understand that what we were doing was, once you log in, you're inside a VPC. You're inside a virtual private cloud. Okay, what is VPC? Virtual private cloud. What is virtual private cloud? It's your private IP-based network in a public environment, in a public cloud. So virtual private cloud. So it's a private LAN, you can say, local area network, right? Suppose you are taken to an office when there are 25 or 30 machines, and you're told, okay, there are 30 machines here, can you connect them together? So you will go to each machine, you will first build a server, and you will put a DHCP there with a private IP range there, and that DHCP will distribute all the IP addresses to the 30 machines, and through the private IP addresses, the 30 machines over the network will connect with each other, right? So that's your just simple private network, right? What if you want to create that same private network in the public cloud? So it's just private network for you only, or whoever you give access to, right? So then you can create a non-default VPC. So first of all, we understand that we are working inside a default VPC. And what do we do inside default VPC? We create virtual machines, we create users, we create groups, databases, obviously other VPCs. Actually, that's what we don't create inside a default VPC. but we do whatever we want to do, etc. All the 200 plus applications or services that they have in AWS, you can do it in your default VPC. That is the playground that AWS provided you to test their services. But what about we want to create our own private network in the cloud? So this is called that you're creating a non-default VPC, which means you are creating a virtual private cloud, which is just your own playground, we can say, and there you can have 200 subnets inside. You can have multiple just can range to thousands of virtual machines, multiple VMs, and all 200 plus AWS services can be connected to your private VPC, right? So, and we need to stick to the terminology. It is non-default VPC, which is like it's not by default created by AWS. You create it yourself. You design it yourself. You create maybe 2-3 subnets. You create one is public subnet, 2 private subnets. From the public subnet, the traffic goes to the private subnet. You can design your own traffic flow inside this private network that you create. Now, example would be, suppose you want to create one in AWS. First of all, you create a VPC. So we refer to this as VPC, non-default VPC. So we're going to stick to the terminology, non-default VPC, right? And when you create a non-default VPC, you have to have you have to have the IP range given as well. Okay, so suppose we create non-default VPC, and that is 00016. Obviously, when you define your own private network or VPC, virtual private cloud, or your own working area, you have to define a IP range there, and we will be doing that, or I will show you how to do that, because you won't be able to do this in this restricted environment. But suppose you created a subnet here, and second subnet, and third subnet here. You can create up to 200 subnets here, right? But suppose you created, so subnet 1 is a public subnet, and subnet 2 is a private subnet, and subnet 3 is a private subnet as well. Now, what does public subnet mean? What does private subnet mean? So public subnet is that the virtual machines here will get a public IP, hence you will be able to connect from internet to any machine that has a public IP. Obviously, public IP is routable on the internet, right? Public IP VMs in the public subnet. So we call it public subnet. It's not a terminology used by AWS. We're just calling it public subnet because it's going to be accessible from internet. So the other machines would be private subnets, and other machines in the private subnets why would we call it private subnet? Because these will have only private IPs, and private IPs are only 3 IP ranges are there: 10.0.0, 172.16.0.0, 192.168.0.0, right? We all know that they are not routable on the internet. So this means that private IP VMs here and private IP VMs here. So first of all, these machines here are not accessible from over the internet. So anyone who wants to connect to, suppose these machines are actually having web applications, web apps, right? Web app here and web app here. So they are web application that everyone wants to connect to, and these are the databases in the background to which all the data is being saved, that is being created up there in the web app. So what's happening is anyone wants to connect to the web app, they will have to first go to the public VMs. These VMs are kind of a gateway. They are the main gate on your public subnet in order to access the private subnet VMs. They have to first land here or here, and then from there they can land to those other virtual machines in the private subnet. So you can create a flow in such a way that nobody can directly connect to the private subnet virtual machine. They have to go through the public subnet, and these subnet in the public subnet you would create. In the public subnet you would put all the restrictions. So antivirus software you would put here, anti-malware, intrusion prevention systems, intrusion detection systems, and authentication of all types, and authorization. So you would just go for pretty much everything, and auditing. So you would put all the restrictions for whoever connects to the public machines in order to connect to your private machines having your critical applications there. So these type of machines are actually called jump boxes, or jump PC, or jump server. So jump box are those that you need to connect to these in order to connect to the rest of the environments in the background, right? And you can't connect directly to the private subnet based virtual machines, so you have to connect here. And what happens is that this is one subnet. How do we take the traffic from, how do we allow the traffic to go from one subnet to another? Okay, I'll rephrase that question. I will put, when you create a subnet, you have to define IP ranges here as well, obviously, right? So this is 10.0.0.24 range. This is 10.0.1.0.24 subnet, and this is 10.0.2.0/24. Now these are different private IP ranges. How can you make them communicate with each other? Because you cannot ping them directly, right? They're different ranges. You need in between them a router. So different IP ranges, you need a router, right? So what happens is when you create multiple subnets, I will be creating two subnets here to demonstrate the whole thing. But when you create multiple subnets, what happens is that AWS creates an automatic routing between the subnets. So already as soon as they get created, they are accepting and sending traffic to and from each other. So that's automatic, and that is called route table. So they already have, you already have a route table created by AWS for the subnets to talk to each other, unless you don't want the subnets to talk in this way. Suppose you don't want the traffic to be coming from public subnet to private subnet, you can remove that route table. Or you don't want the traffic to be coming from this public subnet to this private subnet, and you want traffic to be coming here. So no traffic here, but yes, you want traffic here. So the automatically created route table can be removed from here, and it can be created here, right? So it's up to you how you want to create the route tables there. And control the traffic flow from which subnet the traffic should go to which other subnet, right? So that can be done here in. So Dante has a question. Hi sir, I want to. Oh, okay. Yeah, sure. Okay, Dante, no problem. Just send that in the email. Okay, guys. So here, that's what we understand, that we can create 200 subnets. We can connect the control the traffic flow by creating route tables there. Okay, so and the first subnet could be the jump box, and through that, so this is the RDP connection, or if it's Linux machine, so it's SSL connection, SSH connection. So here, a remote desktop protocol, RDP, if you're connecting from here to there, and RDP if you're connecting from here to there, right? So that's all RDP connection, but other than that, it's going to be so you can just jump from here to there, and if now also you can control and you can control the traffic in this way, in such a way that this subnet, private subnet, is only accepting traffic from public subnet. It is not accepting traffic from anywhere else other than this IP range, right? So that will also make sure, we will also make sure this way that the traffic is only accepted from here and not from over the internet, right? First thing, the private IPs are there, so obviously nobody can connect from internet anyway, but still you can define the rules there with the help of, we talked about that before, SGs, security groups. So when you define security groups there, so what do they do? Security groups are responsible for allowing what source IP address that the traffic should be coming from, and what destination IP address they should be going to, and also you can control that what type of traffic can come, and that is HTTP, HTTPS, right? FTP, SMTP, so all those. Now this is overall the discussion that why do we need VPCs? We can create our own private network in a public cloud. That's the first thing that we need VPCs for. Second thing, you can create subnets inside isolated networks, which means, and you can create a test environment. Suppose this is a test environment, and this is production environment, prod, right? And well, what's happened to my writing? So prod, and this is test, and then maybe there are databases there. So you can just create isolated smaller networks there and control the traffic flow here, and that's how you can create the whole environment inside a VPC. In AWS, you can create 5. So we can create 5 non-default VPCs per region per subscription. So in North Virginia region, for our subscription, 5 non-default regions, 5 non-default VPCs we can create. In in Ohio region, we can create 5 more non-default VPCs. In we keep going ahead, and then other regions we can go for all the non-default. So per region it is 5 non-default VPCs. Okay, so this all explained. Now we need to go to the lab, and I need to show you how it's a demo. You won't be able to do the lab with me, but if you want to try, you can still try, but there's going to be an error that too many VPCs are being created. Okay. Yeah. So 5 non-default VPCs here. 1 is mine and 4 other students. Then 5 in another region, and then 5 in another region. That is possible. Like so. Yeah, whenever the limit is reached, you can choose another region for whoever is not able to make it. Yes, Alexander, it would be a demo class. But I need screenshots from you. So when I say take a screenshot, you need to take a screenshot of my screen and submit it by the end of the class. So, but we won't be able to, many of you won't be able to do the lab. So those who want to follow up, yes, you can do it, but if there's an issue, just whenever I say take a screenshot, just take a screenshot of my screen and submit it at the end of the lab class. Okay, so let's go ahead, guys. What I'm going to do is, what's the plan here? Plan is, so first of all, this was the explanation, so I'll just put that whole diagram. Well, I did put this diagram, but this is the explanation. We're gonna do actually this whole thing. So that's the actual lab, and I'll just take you there now. So what we need to achieve here? We need to achieve here is that we will be creating one non-default VPC, right? And inside we're going to be creating one public subnet, one private subnet. Why public? Why this subnet is called public? We're going to allow public IPs to be distributed to any virtual machine that is created inside the public subnet, and we will not allow any public IP to be distributed in a subnet that we refer to it as private subnet. So that's what we're gonna go for. And again, I'm saying that in this lab, if you get any error and you can't go ahead, then you need to take a screenshot of my screen wherever I say take a screenshot. Well, so what we're going to do first, I'm going to go to the VPC service. I'm going to create a non-default VPC, right? Then I'm going to create two subnets. I'm going to call the first one public subnet and the other one private subnet. Then there is another thing. When you create your own VPC or your own private network environment, AWS does not provide you internet automatically. You have to create an internet gateway and then connect it to the proper VPC. So we do need our VPC to have internet connection, because we need to RDP into our public subnet, and then from this machine we need to connect to the private VM. And this is our lab, that we need to reach the private VM through the public VM. That's the lab objective for today. So in order to provide internet to this VPC, non-default VPC that we create, we need to first create an internet gateway, and that internet gateway needs to be told that it needs to connect to the non-default VPC and it needs to connect to the public subnet. So for that, we will be creating our own route table as well. And this route table, one side of the route table will be connected to internet gateway, and other side of the route table will be connected to the public subnet. So that's how internet gateway will know that whatever traffic it is receiving from internet, which is 000/0, which is whatever traffic. So it's connecting from receiving from internet, needs to go through the route table and to the public subnet. So we will be creating this manually. Internet gateway, we will be creating this route table manually as well. So these are all the network components. Then we're going to create a virtual machine and give it a security group. About security group, we need to, when you create a EC2 instance, you have to define a security group as well, right? We already did that before as well. So the security group for the public VM will accept traffic, RDP traffic from anywhere, from internet. But the security group of the private VM, it will accept RDP connection only from this subnet, public subnet. So the security group for the private subnet will accept only traffic from public subnet, while the security group for the public subnet virtual machine will accept traffic from internet anywhere. So we need to define all this carefully. So hopefully we understand what we're doing here. First of all, we're going to create a VPC, then we're going to create two subnets, then we're going to configure internet gateway, we will configure route table, then we're going to configure two virtual machines, and then finally the objective of the lab is we will RDP into the public machine. Since we cannot connect to the private machine directly from our laptop, so we need to first connect to the public machine, then from there we need to connect through RDP to the private machine. If we are able to connect to the private machine, then this is our objective will be good. This means that our whole networking configuration is good. That's why we are able to connect to the private VM. If any problem in the network configuration, you won't be able to connect to the private VM. So let's go and do it. So first thing, create non-default VPC, give this range, and then create two subnets. So let's reach there first. I'm going to go back to our environment here. So I'm going to go to the services, right? I'm going to go to the services, and then I'm going to the category that is way down here called networking and content delivery. So again, services, and then going down here, networking and content delivery. So for those who want to follow, otherwise you don't need to follow this, and wherever I say take a screenshot, just take a screenshot of my screen. If you're doing it yourself and you're kind of figuring out some of the errors, then yeah, you can take a screenshot of your screen as well. So it's kind of a demo lab today. So I'm going to click the VPC here, and in the VPC you can see that I'm already connected to North Virginia. If anyone's following, so total we can have 5 non-default VPCs. So 6th one would get an error, 7th one and onwards will all get an error, right? Unless you change the North Virginia to US East Ohio, so 5 there, North California 5 there, US West 5 there, right? So it's a 555 thing. So if you know what I'm talking about, you can go to another region, but you don't have to if you don't want to. You can simply watch and take screenshots and upload, and you will get the marks. Okay. So the first screenshot, this first screenshot, yes, everyone can take. How? Like you just reach to the VPC dashboard, and your ID on the top right is showing. So that's your screenshot number 1, and that is VPC dashboard is the name of the screenshot. So take your screenshot number 1, everyone. Where you just entered the service dashboard, right? So no big deal here. Okay. So there's a message, can you wait, sir? So when I start creating VPC, that's where you can sit back and check it out, understand everything, and where do I say. But this one you can just all take a screenshot of with your ID on the top right. Services and then VPC. So see this, services. Then go way down. Like this, until you reach networking, and this is the services, VPC. Hopefully you got it. All right. So screenshot 1 name is VPC dashboard. Screenshot 1 name is VPC dashboard. Screenshot 1. So I'm taking a sample screenshot here. VPC dashboard. So screenshot 1 equals VPC dashboard, right? And so screenshot 1, I'm just going to type there as well. Screenshot 1 equals VPC dashboard. Okay, so let's go ahead, and I'm just going to go ahead with this launch VPC wizard. I'm just already inside the launch VPC wizard. So I'm going to, now you can see all the services, but you can go to your VPCs. Well, those who are following, otherwise you don't need to. So I'm going to click your VPCs, right? Once I click that, now here, the first thing to understand is there's a default VPC. Now guys, if you're seeing that, or those who are seeing there, do you see this do not delete written there? Anyone who is on the screen, are you seeing do not delete written there? Oh, Nugget says no, but Mohammed says yes, and Tenzin says no, Cherry says yes. Oh, that's a good combination. No, yes, no, yes, no, yes. And okay, no, yes, no, yes, yes, yes. So how come there are two no's here? Are you in the right place? If you're in a, oh yeah, if you're in other, if you're in North Virginia, yes, you will be able to see that. But if you're in Ohio or any other region, you won't be able to see that. Yes. Oregon. Okay. Mine does not have name. Tenzin, I think you're on another region, right? North California. Okay. So, other than North Virginia, okay, that's okay. Let me tell you about this, guys. If you see this VPC here in your area as well, in your region, if you're seeing that, then go there, hover your mouse over there until you see a writing, click this writing, and you need to add this, do not delete. Why? This default VPC is by AWS. If you accidentally deleted this one, you won't be able to log in next time, or even for the project you won't be able to log in. In fact, if you deleted that, no one will be able to log in, and that would be a disaster for everyone. So definitely who accidentally deletes that loses a lot of marks there for doing this. So just click over there, hover over there. If you don't see that, just hover over there and just go ahead and type there, do not delete. If there are 2 or more students in the same region, free projects. Hey Cherise, that was very sharp, and that was a good point. But no, then you will get even a more difficult project. So if that happens, so that's why, and whoever is done will simply lose all marks there. It will be total 0. So okay guys, here, but that's a good point. Anyway, just put there do not delete default VPC, and just exactly follow that. Do not delete this default VPC. You're working inside this. The example for this would be, suppose you're about to bulldoze a building, right? You have the remote control for the building, and that building you want to bulldoze or put down, maybe to create a new building, right? But you're actually sitting or standing inside that building that you're about to bulldoze, right? So that's not a very bright idea. So you're working inside this VPC. If you accidentally delete that, AWS will actually delete that for you, but then next time you won't be able to log into this. That's so Ahmed, yes, again I will say, those who want to follow, it's okay. Those who do not want to follow, it's okay. So those who are following can take their own environment screenshots. Those who are not following can take my screen screenshots, right? So what my suggestion is, just sit back and see and understand what's going on, but take screenshots wherever I say, and just take a screenshot of my screen, right? But some people just want to follow. Yes, David, so renaming the blank name to do not delete. Yes, you're good. Exactly. Okay, good. Very good. David, which region are you in, David? Nargis, no. Uh, uh, Anyone else in North California? Because any one of you can do it in. Any one of you can do it in same region. Anyone else in North California? I think Tenzin is in North California. So either Tenzin or David can do it in North California to do this. So if anyone students has put that here, it's okay. And no, Nargis, not with my name. Just put do not delete default VPC. That's all. Okay. So let's go ahead. Now, do not delete once you have put in that information for your region. If you are following, if you're not following, it's okay. You can take this screenshot of my screen. If you're following, you need to take a screenshot of your screen, right? Okay, so this would be screenshot 2 actually. So do not delete should be showing there. Well, I kept on saying you don't need to do the lab, but then you're already so you're I'm still asking to create. So you can, those who are here, those who are not following the lab can take a screenshot of my screen now, and those who are doing their own labs can take a screenshot of their do not delete. So take a screenshot of my screen now, those who are not following, and this is screenshot 2, and the default VPC is the name of the screenshot. So screenshot 2, those who are not following the lab, take a screenshot of my screen and name it default VPC. Screenshot 2, default VPC. Screenshot 2, default VPC. Okay, I'll just quickly take it. Obviously, you will all name the screenshot. Screenshot 2, default VPC. Okay. Do we need to do notepad without name? Notepad with your name. You mean notepad where you're taking screenshots? So yeah, you have to name it with your name. Wayne. That's what I asked. Oh, Nargis. Oh, that's for the notepad. Yes, it's with your name. I thought, Nargis, you were asking about the default VPC. Okay, guys, so let's go ahead. But your notepad with your name. So let's go ahead, and we're going to now we're seeing the default do not delete. Now uncheck that. Those who are following, go ahead and uncheck that, because we're going to create our own VP and C. Okay, there's no and. So uncheck this, and let's click the create VPC. For those who are following, let's click the create VPC. And then I'm just going to name it your first name non-default VPC, right? So your first name dash non-default VPC, not N. And once you put your non-default VPC, for those who are following, then go for 10.0.0.0/16. So because we are giving this very long range, so we could accommodate as many subnets, although we don't plan to have that kind of, it's gonna accommodate like 65,000 clients, right? But anyway, give a larger range here. and we're not using IPv6, so we're not going to connect or select any of those. And tenancy is default, which means it will be shared by other subscriptions. If it is dedicated, so the underlying hardware will be available to be used only by you for better performance or for compliance. So tags, nothing in tags. So what I do in creating a VPC is that we give a name, we give an IP range, and that's all, nothing else, right? So I'm going to click create VPC, and it's created, right? Now once it is created, then I'm going to go back here to your VPCs, so I could check out if there are other VPC searches, RF are there as well in my North Virginia region. So okay, this means there was a accommodation for 2 more. Okay, anyway, so now I want to create 2 subnets, which is on the left side here, and I need to connect those 2 subnets to my non-default VPC. So I'm gonna go ahead under the your VPCs, I'm gonna click subnets here, and so once I click the subnet here, that's, I think, done tomorrow. There are 2 subnets still there from Paul. Is there a Paul here? No, there's no Paul in this class, right? Hey, how come it's not giving me the time it was created? Okay, anyway, I'll be getting rid of Paul's subnet here. I'll delete them. No one's Paul here, right? Okay, got it. So I'll delete. So there was yesterday's class, and I told everyone, please delete your all resources. So that can cause loss of marks if this is not done. But actually, I said that I will delete for everyone. Alright, guys. So here I'm gonna go for creating my own subnet. So I see here 6 subnets already. These are 6 availability zones for North Virginia. Maybe you will see in other regions 3 subnets or 2 subnets or 4 subnets. So those are their availability zones for those particular subnets, which is okay. We're not going to touch those because they are connected to our default VPC. So we're going to create our own subnet. So I'm going to click that, create subnet, right? And first of all, inside which VPC we need to create subnet. So I'm just going to go for I will never select the default one. I will go for my named VPC, right? And then I'm going to go down. So it's asking what is the subnet name you want to give. So we can give here your first name dash public dash subnet. Your first name dash public dash subnet. Availability zone, if we don't choose, the setup will choose for us. But for organization purpose, I'm just going to select 1A. Otherwise, you can select any other as well. And it also asks what is the IP range of this subnet, as we decided in the diagram. So we're going to give it 10.0.0.0/24. And that's it. So this is the first subnet, your first name public subnet here, and it's in North Virginia in my case, US East 1A, and its IP range is this /24. So once that is given, I'm going to click create sub and net. Once it is created, then I need to actually create the second subnet. So I'm going to go ahead and again go to create subnet. I'm going to create a private subnet now. So I'll click the create subnet now. I will again carefully choose my named non-default VPC and do the same thing as we did for the previous subnet. So it's going to be your first name dash private subnet. For organization purpose only, I'll give it 1A availability zone, and this subnet IP would be 10.0.0. Actually 10.0.1.0/24, right? 10.0.1.0/24. So this would be our private subnet. So that is what we are talking about here. So one VPC created, one public subnet created with this IP, one private subnet created with this IP, or about to be created in this IP. So till there we are reaching. So let's click the create subnet here as well. Okay, so I need to clear filters to see the subnets that are showing there now. So I'm going to click clear filters. So I can see my subnet and Arif subnet and Chari's subnet. Oh, how come Chari's has just one public subnet? So now what we can do is you can, those who are following, can go to the filter subnets, right? Filter subnet, and you can do what? You can just type your name, because your subnet starts with your name. So you just want to see your created subnet. So just type your name and press enter. And this is how just your named subnet will show here. And that's our screenshot 3 subnets created. Screenshot 3. Those who are not following, take my screenshot. Those who are following, take your screenshot. So take a screenshot number 3, subnets created. Take a screenshot number 3, subnets created. Screenshot 4, right? Or 3? I think 3. Oh, 3. Screenshots 3. Actually, I didn't put the screenshot names in the chat. So screenshot 2 name is in the chat, screenshot 3 name is in the chat, whoever wants to refer. Okay, so screenshot 3 is subnets created. Let's go ahead. Now, if you see the diagram here, the subnets are created, but there's one more configuration that we need to understand, and that is that this subnet distributes public IPs to its VMs. So this subnet does that, right? That's why it's called public subnet. But the other subnet would be obviously the opposite of that, and that is distributes only private IPs to its VMs. So we need to make sure that this setting is implemented. So how do we make sure that this setting is implemented? So that's what I'm going to show you now. We need to turn one subnet to accept public IPs and the other one not to accept public IPs. So how does that? How do we configure that? So I'm just going to go back to the subnets we have, and first I'm going to go to the public subnet here. I'm going to select the public subnet like this. Those who are following, you can select this public subnet and then go to actions until you see modify auto assign IP settings. So I'm going to select this modify auto assign IP settings here for the public subnet only, and the default setting is enable auto assign public IPv4 address. This means that distribute public IP addresses, and this is default setting is that it is unchecked. By default, it's not going to assign public IPs to your virtual machines unless you check it. So I'm going to check it because this is the public subnet. I want its virtual machines to have public IPs, so I'm going to check it. So obviously the private subnet is already configured. This means because the default setting is not to configure, not to distribute public IPs. So enable auto assign public IPv4 address is we check it only for public subnet and click save. So but we do now, we uncheck the public subnet and we check the private subnet, and we go to the same setting here. Just to double check, we know already that the default setting is not to distribute the public IP, so we know that it's unchecked and we're going to keep it unchecked. We're just double checking it. Wow, check, uncheck, double checking. So yes, it is unchecked, and we'll keep it unchecked for the private subnet, and we're going to cancel out from the private subnet this option window. Okay, so once that is done, if we visit our diagram again, so what happens is that now this VPC by default does not have internet connection, so we need to allow internet connection to send internet traffic to this VPC and to its public subnet. How do we do that? First we create internet gateway, then connect the internet gateway to VPC that we created, and then we're going to through route table manually we're going to create a route table, and we're going to tell the internet gateway to send traffic to actually just the public subnet. So let's first create an internet gateway. So I'm going to go to the left side here, and I can see internet gateway here. And guys, if you don't see this, do not delete the default internet gateway. So please put that name there. If you're in other regions, obviously you won't see that, so do put your name there, right? If you're in the other region and you can't see that, so please rename it to do not delete the default gateway, because default internet gateway is letting you connect to the default VPC, right? So your default gateway is accidentally deleted, you're not connecting to the default VPC as well. Okay. So I'm gonna uncheck that because I'm not touching this internet gateway that is bringing internet traffic to my default VPC. So I need to create my own internet gateway now, and I will be connecting it to my non-default VPC, right? So I'm going to click the create internet gateway now, and there I'll name it your first name dash internet dash gateway. And so your first name dash internet gateway, that's pretty much it. So you just give it a name and click create internet gateway, right? So once you have created your internet gateway, it needs to be attached to a VPC. So it needs to be attached to a VPC. So I'm going to click that attach to a VPC for the internet gateway, and I'm going to attach it to my named VPC. So when I click the VPC, it shows me two other VPCs, but I'm going to connect it to my named VPC now. I'm connecting it to my named VPC and attach internet gateway. I'm going to click that attach internet gateway. So attach internet gateway, right? So once that is done, I'm going to go back to internet gateways. I'm going to click that internet gateways here, and yeah, I can see two more internet gateways got created there, and one of them is detached. Okay. I'll refresh it, and yes, all are attached. That's very good. Now that would be screenshot for internet gateway created. So those who are not following, take a screenshot of my screen. Those who are following, take a screenshot of your screen. So screenshot 4 is internet gateway created. Screenshot 4 is internet gateway created. Screenshot 4 is internet gateway created. Screenshot 4 internet gateway created. Okay, my kid here. So yeah, internet gateway created. Can you show a screenshot for screenshot again? Yeah. So okay, this is a screenshot, guys. Those who missed, you can just take a screenshot now. Those who missed, you can take a screenshot now. Okay, let's go ahead. So once we create internet, so according to the diagram, this internet gateway has no idea which exact subnet to send the traffic to. It knows that it's connected to the VPC, which VPC, but it does not know after this to which subnet to send the traffic to. So we're gonna now create a route table, and we're gonna manually create that route table, and one side of the route table will be receiving traffic from internet gateway, other side of the route table will be sending traffic to the public subnet, right? So we need to define all that manually. So let's get back here. Now where is the route table? We're going to go to the left side under the subnets, and above the internet gateways is route tables. So let's click that, route tables, for those who are following. So once we are inside the route table, so what happens is, very strange. Am I in the route table? Yeah. So Paul's, how come it's still there while I deleted that all? Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to create our own manual route table. So let's click the create route table now. Create route table now. And then we're going to go for your first name dash route dash table dash for dash internet gateway. Okay, it goes long, but it tells us the purpose. Your first name route table for internet gateway, right? Okay, so now which VPC to attach this route table to? So obviously it's your name non-default VPC. We need to attach this route table to the your name non-default VPC, but later we need to manually configure it as well. So I'm going to click your first name non-default VPC here, and then CRE and 8, right? So once you create it, close. So now there's that route table got created. And oh, I don't see any other route table here. How come the other guys did not create it? Oh, what? Oh, you didn't name it? Oh, so you did. Ouch. Okay. Error creating route table. Our route table does not exist. I think it has reached that limit. That's very strange. You can try to create again with a different name, or just put does not exist. So create by a little, put some other unique character, put extra dash, extra 1, and then try to create that. Refresh. I'll refresh here as well. Okay, Cherries was able to do that. And I'll refresh again. And okay, so it's working now. Yeah. All right, so let's go and head. Yeah. Now, oh, hey Arif, there are 2 route tables now. So the first one did work, and the second one got created as well. Okay. Okay, so well, you can delete one of those. So you can select like this and actions, and there's a delete here. So delete one of those so you won't get confused. Okay, so we need to configure the route table. How do we do that? Oh, David says that route table beginning looks like the default VPC. Oh yes, the route table, there's a route table for default VPC, so yes, you can add the do not delete in your regions for the one that is connected to do not delete default. So you can go hover the pencil over there and do not delete for the RDP as well. So go ahead in your regions, hover the mouse over there and click that pencil and add the do not delete where it meets the do not delete VPC, right? Okay, so we need to also configure our route table. So let's select the route table that we created and then configure it. One side of it to the connect the one side of the route table to the internet gateway and the other side of the route table to Oh, if you were not able to delete. Okay. So I'm just gonna click that. Oh, yeah, you were able to delete. That is Amir. Okay. So I'm gonna select my route table, my named route table, and I'm gonna. So there's a tab here, routes, that connects us to the internet gateway. There's another tab here, Subnet Association. As the name says, it's gonna associate another side of the other side of the route table to the subnet. So first we're going to go to the routes to connect it to the internet gateway, right? So I'm going to click that routes here, and then I'm going to go for edit routes, and I need to add route here. I'm going to click add route. So first it says, okay, where is the traffic coming from? So I say 0.0.0.0/0. It's coming from everywhere or anywhere. So traffic is having multiple destinations or anywhere. So second thing is to which service this traffic is coming to. So I'm going to drop down this, and we're going to select obviously the internet gateway. So all the traffic from the internet is going to hit this internet gateway. So route table is asking these questions, that where's the traffic coming from and what is it going to, and to whom am I connecting, to whom this side of the route is connecting. So I'm going to click internet gateway now, and then there's my first name gateway. Internet gateway is showing there, so I'm just going to select that gateway and then save routes, right? Save routes and close. And that's the first side of the route, and then there is the other side of the route, and that is Subnet Association. So I'm going to click that Subnet Association now. So if we go to the diagram, so it's this side of the route table already configured. Now this side where it associates with the subnet, so we're going to do that now. So I'm going to go to the Subnet Association, and then I'm going to click edit subnet association. Subnet Association. So we know which one to connect to. Obviously not the private subnet, it will be the public subnet. So I'm going to click that public subnet here and click the save button. So I'm going to click the save button here. So now our route table configuration is good, and we can take screenshot number 5, route table created, screenshot 5, route table created. So those who are not following can take screenshot of my screen. Screenshot 5, route table created. Screenshot 5, route table created. So I'll go for screenshot 5, route table created. Hopefully you've taken the screenshot, everyone. I'll go for screenshot 5. And I'll just up here. Screenshot 5, right? So let's go back here, and this is the screenshot that you need to create. So if we go to the diagram now and try to understand that, So route table has been defined now. At least the internet connection will be now hitting the internet gateway, then the VPC, then the public subnet. Okay, so this much is done, but internet is only connecting to public subnet, not to the private subnet. Now we need to create a virtual machine for the public subnet. We need to give it this security group configuration, and then we're going to create a virtual machine for the private subnet, and we need to give this security configuration. So let's get connected. Well, we're already connected, so let's get started. And what do we do here? So I'm going to right click this tab where I'm connected to VPC dashboard. I'm going to duplicate this tab so I can still be inside VPC dashboard, and also then go to the EC2 instances dashboard on the other tab. So I'm going to duplicate this, and I'll go to services, and then to EC2, then to EC2. So in the other tab, I'm going to EC2 here, and once we're inside the EC2, then we click instances. Right, so we click instances here. So once we click instances, so now let's click create or launch instances. So I'm going to click launch instances here, and we know the drill here, so I'm just going to click free tier only. And I'm going to go down here. So there's a Microsoft Windows Server 2019 base, and I'm going to click select. So obviously it's going to be t2.micro always here, so nothing to do on choose instance type. So I'm going to click configure instance details. Yeah, Microsoft Windows Server 2019 base. And so here obviously we're not creating this machine in the default VPC. We're creating this virtual machine in our non-default VPC. So I'm going to select, I'm going to drop down here, I'm going to go for your first name non-default VPC, and within your first name non-default VPC we're going to select your first name public subnet, because we're creating a public machine, and your first name public subnet is showing auto assign public IP. So use subnet setting is enabled already. So what we are making sure in this public machine configuration that we're in the correct VPC, we're in the correct subnet, and that it does receive public IPs. So these are three things that we need to configure, or we need to make sure of. And now I'm going to click add store and add storage. So I'm going to click add storage now. Nothing in the storage area, so I'm going to click add tags. Nothing in the tags area. Then I'm going to go for configure security group, right? Configure security group. I'm going to click that, and then there's RDP, there's TCP 3389. Yes, exactly, that's what we wanted for the public subnet, that from anywhere in the internet we can RDP into that machine. So this is already configured here for us. We're just gonna go up here and put dash and your first name for those who are following. So go up here, for dash and your first name, right? And then I'm going to click review and launch. I'm going to click review and launch. Okay, now then we click launch. So here, choose an existing key pair. Better create a new one unless you know where you put the last key pair. I'm going to go for create a new key pair, and I'm going to name it for today KP dash today's date 07April2021 dash your first name. Right? So create a key pair with your first name. And then we're going to click download key. We're going to click download key pair and just put it in downloads folder or wherever you can remember it. So I'm going to click download folder and click save. And then once you've saved it, now let's click the launch in stan and says launch instances. Once we click the launch instances, then we're going to go for this ID. Now, when the instances are created, let's quickly name it. So we're going to click hover the mouse over there, we're going to name it. So I'll click here, your first name dash public dash VM, right? Your first name dash public VM. So I'll click save here. Okay, so one instance is created and running. So we will be creating second instance, but let's take our break. We can just take from 7:40 till 8, and then we start at 8 as well. We start at 8 then. So let's take a break till 8. Wow, it rhymes. Okay. So break goes at 8. So if we check our, so we create one virtual machine already, one EC2 instance, and we're gonna go for, so, and we given the name for that instance as well. So let's go for the second machine there. So I'm gonna click that launch instance. I'm just gonna uncheck that, and then I'm going to click launch instances again to create a private virtual machine. And I'm going to click that free tier only again, and then we're going to go to the same machine Microsoft Windows Server 2019 base, and select it. Choose instance type, so it's t2.micro. Configure instance details, because nothing to do on instance type page. And here, configure instance, we need to again make sure that our VPC is the correct one. So I'm gonna click on that and go down to your first name, non-default VPC. Then now the private, because we're creating a private virtual machine, so yes, the subnet that is selected is correct. It's the private subnet, and also that what we selected on that subnet that do not assign public IP, so it is saying disabled, so that is also correct. So this is it. That's what we want to configure for the private virtual machine. And so once these three are configured, we can click the add storage, and nothing in the add storage, so we're going to go for add tags. Nothing in the add tags, and then we're going to go for configure security group. So here we need to be careful, and I'm going to go for that diagram, so you can see that the private subnet is only accepting traffic from the public subnet. So if the RDP traffic is to be initiated, it is supposed to be initiated from only this IP range. So we're going to put this IP range there in the custom for the RDP traffic. So I'm going to go back here, and yes, RDP is allowed. TCP protocol 3389 is the port range, and the custom, so I'm just going to put the IP range of the public subnet here. So it's 10.0.0.0/24. So that's the IP range of the public subnet, and that's what we need to be careful about. And I'm going to go for this launch wizard dash your first name here as well. And then we're going to go for review and launch. And then we're gonna go for the launch. This time I'm gonna use the same key pair that I created in the previous machine. So choose an existing key pair, but I need to choose the key pair that I created today. And that is 7th. So that's my name, and the 7th April. So this is why this is the key pair that I downloaded in the downloads folder in my laptop. So I'm just gonna select that, and I acknowledge that I know where it is. And then click launch instances. Oops. Okay. Already exists. Yikes. Okay, I'm just gonna go back here. It says that this name already exists, so make a change here. I'm gonna go previous and previous, so I'll just put 1 here, just add something more to change the name, and I'm gonna click review launch and then launch. And yes, I need to again say that the key pair, this key pair, I know where it is, or I have access to this. And I'm gonna click launch in stan and sys. So the private instance has been created. I need to still give the name to the private instance. So I'm just going to click the ID here. So I will hover my mouse over here and click this to give quickly a name to this machine. So your first name dash private dash VM. Oh, it's doing that again. You know, it just, as soon as I write it, it just removes it. So what I'm gonna do is I'll open a notepad here and I'll put the name here in the notepad first. Your first name private dash VM control C control V and save. So we gave the name to the two virtual machines. I'm going to click the clear. How do you name the security group? Jerry says, how do you name the security group? Oh, well, if you could show where you're stuck, like you can upload a screenshot on WhatsApp if you're adding to the WhatsApp group. Otherwise, you just add something at the end of the name. Just whatever the name, launch wizard, and there's a number there, and then put dash, and then put your name, -1. Just add -1 as well. So that's how I named it. Hopefully you get it what I said, or you can somehow show a screenshot of where you're stuck. But you just simply add some unique name there at the end of the name. Launch wizard 9, suppose. So launch wizard 9 dash your name. So okay, I hope it is resolved. So I'll click the clear filters now. So I see here some virtual machines. Okay, so here I again need to put in the filter the names of my machine, because in order to take a screenshot, so I'm just going to click here and go for your first name. You can just type your first name here and press enter to just show the machine starting with your name. Okay, so this would be our screenshot number 6. Two virtual machines created. This will be our screenshot number 6. Two virtual machines created. Did we create screen 5? Yeah, we did. So screenshot number 6, two VMs created. Screenshot 6, two VMs create and TID. Screenshot 6, two VMs created. So it will be this screen that those who are not following the lab can take the screenshot of this screen of mine. So screenshot 6, two VMs created. Oh yeah, here. Okay, let's go ahead. And screenshot 6 is 2 VMs created. I have a good time. Okay, so yeah, you're not following the lab. This means okay. So yeah, for saying that, you get -10 temperature. Just kidding. Okay, so yeah, let's go ahead and now we're going to, if we go back to the screenshot here, well, actually, if we go back to the diagram here, so um, so we pretty much did everything. We have created the virtual machine, the RDP for the public subnet and private virtual machine, and RDP or SG actually, SG for public and SG for private, right? So what we need to do is check the file thing. One more route table needed. Why? Oh yeah, this route table, if you're referring to, this is already created. In fact, that's a good point. Let me show you where this route table is, because we don't need to create that route table. This is automatically created when the subnets are created. So, but where is this route table that is automatically created and we do not have to create that? So, yeah, cool. So I'm gonna go ahead and let's go back here to show. I'm gonna click that other tab where we are opened in VPC dashboard. I'm gonna click that, and I'm gonna go to subnets in the VPC dashboard. If I click the subnets in the VPC dashboard, okay, so I have a lot of subnets here, but I want to see the subnets that I created. So the subnets that starts with my name. So I'm going to type here my name and press enter to see the subnets I created. Yes, so the 2 subnets that I created are showing here, but are they connected to the same route table or not? First of all, are they connected at all to a route table, and is it the same route table or different route tables? So if I simply start scrolling to the right, and there's VPC, then there's IPv4 CIDR, there's IPv6, there's IPv4 addresses column, then availability zone column, availability zone ID column, and then network border group until the route table appears here. So the thing is that if I just expand that, okay, seriously. So you can see 2 route tables here, and I can tell you the reason why. In fact, I should have shown you when I haven't attached it to the other route table. So what happens is that the private subnet and the public subnet, they are supposed to be both showing the same route table. The above route table normally shows here as well, but why there's a different route table? Because we also connected this subnet to the internet gateway. So these two are still connected to each other with a route table here, but also there. In fact, if I go to the route table itself, this is the route table. I'm going to click on top of this, right? So if I click that, I'm going to go to the route table itself, right? And I need to know if this route table is connected to the 2 subnets, or does it show it is connected, but does it show that? Because I connected the public subnet to a route table that connects it to the internet gateway. That doesn't mean that it is disconnected from the private subnet. So I'm going to click the Edit Subnet Association, and yes, we can see that this route table is showing 2 subnets here. Current route table is main, and the second, yeah. Now I should have shown you before I connected it to that route table. In fact, there's one more way to show that. If I quickly create a 3rd subnet, right? I'm not gonna mess with the route table. I'm just gonna, and guys, you don't have to do that. I'm just creating a quick 3rd subnet just to prove that the same route table is connecting all the new subnets. So I'm connecting it to my default VPC, and then I'm going for subnet. You guys, you don't need to create that subnet -3 and availability zone 1A. It could be any availability zone, and then 10.0. 1.0/24 because I created that already, so I'm going to go for 2.0 here. No, it's not about feeling bad. I know that it is same route table, but it's not showing, so it's always fun to actually prove the point, so I'm having that fun. So I'm going to clear that create subnet, and so I will get $6 or $6 million. So okay, so I'm going to click clear filters here, and I'm going to put here your first name, well, my first name. Why do I say your first name when I'm typing my? So there's a third subnet I created. Now we can forget that public subnet exists for now. I created a third subnet, and what I'm saying is, without going there, that this subnet should show the same route table that the private subnet has. It should. The new subnet should show the same route table that the private subnet has. So if I go down there, and you can see. So route table 1 ending with C130, and it's ending with C130, and the third one is the one that we create. So if I create 20 more subnets, they will all automatically connect to the same route table. So yay, I win $6. Now I will send you my Gmail there, and you can e-transfer me that $6 bet that we had. Okay, so okay, so now, well, we don't need a third subnet anyway, so I'm just going to select that subnet, and I'm going to delete it. But it's always good to actually prove it instead of simply claiming it. So yeah, that just solidifies our concepts, right? Okay, let's go back. Okay, so here, well, if we go to the diagram, we pretty much did everything we needed to do. Now it's time for test. So what we're going to do is simple, as we discussed before. We're going to just connect from our laptop to the public VM. Once we're inside the public VM with the help of RDP, then we're going to initiate an second RDP connection to connect to the private VM, right? So let's do it. So I'm going to go to my EC2 instances dashboard, and obviously if we are able to connect to the private VM here, this means that our whole networking configuration is correct. If you're not able to connect to the private VM, then something went wrong somewhere. So let's go back and check it out. So what we need to do is, I'm going to go back to the instances, and I need to connect, because I cannot connect to the private VM anyway. The only choice is to connect to the public VM. So I'm going to select the public VM, and I'm going to click the connect button, right? So once we click the connect button, so then we go to Rdp Client, and we know the drill from here. We've done that before. So I need to click the get password, provide the key pair, and then I need to just simply connect. Download this file and connect. So I'm going to click that get password here, and then browse. And in the downloads folder, yes, that's the key pair. Double click that, and I'll decrypt the password. So there's my password. Now I need to download this file. It already has the information of the public IP and the username. It will just ask for this password. So I'll copy this password now, and then I'll download this file and double click this file. And connect, so it will ask for a password. And then press ONK. And yes. So we're connecting to our first So now I'm going to press that yes here for discoverable. So now you can see that there's this configuration information for the machine. I'm going to simply restore down. So it was like this. I click this restore down button here, this one, and so this restore down button here, and I will. So what I need to do is, this is a screenshot number 7 now. Screenshot 7 is public VM configuration. Screenshot 7 is public VM configuration. So take a screenshot, everyone. Screenshot 7, public VM configuration. Screenshot 7, public VM configuration. Public VM configuration. Okay, so then so I've connected to the public VM already, right? So from inside the public VM, I need to initiate a remote desktop connection to the private VM. But before I do that, I need to collect some information from the private VM, right? So that is something that we need to. Right? So here, let's try to initiate. Let's try to first grab the information. What information we need from the private VM? Because we cannot connect to the private VM, but we need to have the IP of the private VM. So we need following information here. IP of the private VM. The username we already know, it's administrator, and the password. So user and PW, right? So what is the IP? Obviously, it's a private IP, so we need to get that. Username is obviously it's administrator. We know that, but what is the password then? So let's grab that information and then initiate RDP connection from within the public VM. So I'm going to go back here to the dashboard, and I'll click can and cancel. and I'm going to uncheck the public VM because I need to have information about the private VM. So I'm just going to select the private VM, and I need to connect to the private V and M. Okay, VM. I'll click connect, and actually I'm not going to try to remotely connect to the private VM, but I still need information about the password. So I do get the information about the IP. This is the private VM IP here. So I'll put it in my notepad. And I need the password. So for the password, obviously we know the drill here. Just give the path of the key pair, and browse. This is the key pair that I downloaded in the downloads folder. Decrypt password. So I got the password for the private VM. I'm just gonna copy this. Okay, so this is the information, and I'm going to go down to the public VM. I'm going to go inside the public VM. And I will right click here on the left bottom. There's Windows. I can here. I'm just going to right click and go to run. In the run, I'm going to type MST, T for toy, SC. So MS is Microsoft, T for terminal, S for services, and C for console. So Microsoft Terminal Services Console, MSTSC, right? So when you type MSTSC in the run and press OK, it opens that remote desktop connection window. So MSTSC is the is the file, command that you need to put there. And other than that, let's go ahead and that's it. So I'm gonna put that private IP and then try to connect. If the networking was okay, it's gonna work. Otherwise, it's not. So I'll just go for 10.01.180. So I'll click connect, and it asks for a username password. So add administrator and password. Alright, so the password is put in, and I'm gonna press yes and. So seems like everything's working fine. Well, it's supposed to start one day, Monday or Sunday. What? What happened here? Oh, now it starts. Okay, so that is the private IP. and this is the public IP. So we are connected successfully to the private VM through the public VM, from the public subnet and within the public VM to the private subnet and private VM. So that is really good. I'm just waiting for the that information on the top right for the private VM to also show up, so we could take a screenshot of that. So the private VM took some time to start, so I guess the screenshot might so that information on the top right might also, it is just slow. Yeah, it is. Okay, so the information is here, and there would be our screenshot number 8. So screenshot 8 is private VM configuration. Screenshot 8 is private VM configuration. Screenshot 8 is private VM configuration. So take everyone, screenshot 8, where this information is showing. Screenshot 8 private VM configuration. Hopefully everyone took the screenshot. Screenshot 8 slash private VM configuration. Okay, so I'll go to instances. Actually, I'm here, right? So screenshot 8 is private VM configuration, and well, other than that, because we were able to connect, so this is obviously a successful lab. And if I just restore down this guy, restore down this guy, so it's gonna appear like a box, and we can just drag this here. So that would be another screenshot that VPC lab works. Screenshot 9 would be VPC lab works. So you can take a screenshot of these two showing side by side, right? So you can take screenshot 9 for these two where VPC lab works. Screenshot 9, VPC lab works. VPC lab works. Screenshot 9, VPC lab works. Okay, so now we need to also make sure that we delete everything. Yay! What? Hey, we spent so much effort on that. How can you delete that? Okay, anyway, so we need to make sure that how to delete a VPC needs to be seen, because it's not like you can delete one by one everything. The good thing about VPC is that if you delete the virtual machines first, then you can delete the VPC. And if you only delete VPC, it deletes the, whatever you connected to that. So it deletes automatically the internet gateway, it deletes the two subnets, it deletes then the route table as well. So it deletes everything automatically, whatever you connected with it, right? So that's what we need to do. So first step would be to delete all the virtual machines. So I'm going to go back to my EC2 instances, and I see my virtual machine, right? So the virtual machines that we created, first we need to delete those virtual machines, right? So I'm going to simply select my two virtual machines, and I will delete them. How do I delete that? I select the two virtual machines of mine, and I'm going to go for instance state and then terminate, right? So go to instance state and terminate. So it goes to the two, it shows that the two instances. I'm going to click terminate here. Make sure that the word terminate appears here, and then you go to the VPC and be very, very, very careful what you delete there on the VPC side, because we can't afford to delete the default V, B, and C. So it does not show me terminate yet, but it's going to. So I'm going to refresh this. So 1 PM, 1 VM, did I say PM? Okay, both VMs are terminated. I'm going to click the clear filters here to see if the other VMs have been terminated. And in other regions, guys, make sure can you go through this again? So okay, so see this, you can just go for your VMs. So just put in the instances your name, so only your VMs come here. Then you select all the two VMs you have, and then you go to instance state and click the terminate instance. Hopefully you get it. So instance state terminate. So I see they're terminated already written there. Make sure in other regions where you're working, make sure that you deleted the virtual machines and make sure that the terminated is appearing there, right? Only then you can proceed to delete the VPC you created. Only touch that VPC and delete that. So, and that VPC will delete everything else that was connected to it automatically as well. And make sure that your created VPC is gone. So first of all, it's just refreshing here. Well, it's terminated, and I'm just going to click the clear filters here to see if other machines that were created here are terminated as well. Yes, Arif's machines, Cherry's machine are all showing terminated. We're good, going good. So just click refresh here, and you would see the status there quicker. And then we go to the other one, and that is the VPC dashboard. Can go through the VPC deletion again, please. VPC deletion. Yeah, David, I'm about to start now. The VPC deletion. So you're there and we're there. Okay, no problemo. So here, guys, be very, 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 very careful. There are 5 varies now, so that's how important it is, right? So let's go to the your VPCs. Let's go to the your VPCs and only select your VPC. It could be very simple if you're following all the steps properly. Just select your VPC, non-default VPC, and then go to actions and go to delete VPC. It's as simple if you're very careful, right? So let's click the delete VPC here. Now it shows me that these are the resources I've created: Internet Gateway, Private Subnet, Route Table. So these are the resources it says, and it just simply shows at the end to type the word delete, right? Delete and click the D and L and T. So delete. And it should just delete all the resources that you've created and attached to the VPC. So only delete your created VPC. Okay. So in other regions, I hope it's the same case there, and you were able to delete the VPC successfully and not touching the default VPC. If you have done that, then we're good. Maybe check North California. When you have a second, check North California. Oh, so I'm gonna go for North California here. Yeah, you're good. So there's only do not delete default VPC is there. So this means you're good. Cool, you're good. Great. So now, other than that, there is all the other features there, like AWS Transit Gateway, which is easily connect Amazon VPCs, AWS accounts, and on-premises networks to a single gateway. So suppose you want to go ahead and you have a local branch there, or you have other AWS accounts there with a separate credit card connected and other VPCs. So you want to connect them together. So there's Transit Gateway that is used. Then there is AWS Private Link, their established private connectivity between VPCs and services hosted on AWS or on premises without exposing data to the internet. So private link just means that suppose you want to connect your VPC to S3 service where you create the buckets, or you want to connect to the EC2 service, or there are 200 plus services there that you want to connect your VPC to with private IP address. If that's the case, then you use private link, and also on premises any services you want to connect there. Then there is AWS network firewall, that is deploy network security across your Amazon VPCs with just a few clicks. So that's a proper firewall, although the SG, the security group, also acts as a firewall. ACLs on the network level, access control lists on the network level, they also work as a firewall, but they are simpler. SG or security group just allows or blocks traffic to and from, and source and destination, and also that what type of protocol needs to be allowed and blocked, what type of application traffic that needs to be allowed or blocked. So other than that, it doesn't do anything, but firewall really checks all the other possible known mechanisms of hacking and unauthorized entries. And so there's a IPsec protocol, also IP security protocol, that gets connected to the firewall, and it does go for in-depth traffic diagnostics and security. So, but it also is an expensive service, obviously, to connect to. But then there is AWS VPN, and that is virtual private network. If you want to connect from your on-premises, from your local branch to your AWS with a private IP, then you can configure AWS VPN, and through VPN, AWS VPN. Now I have that lab. I've done it in. It's a long lab to configure AWS VPN, and I've done that in some other where I was teaching. So if any one of you wants to see the video or the whole AWS course with a lot of extra labs there, longer ones, but they were all done in when you create your own AWS account with your own credit card. It's a 1 year free tier, 1 year free tier, where you can practice a lot carefully, obviously. So there we did that AWS VPN lab as well. But the main purpose here is that if you want to connect on premises to AWS cloud only with private IP addresses, then you go for AWS VPN, and then there is NAT gateway. So suppose you have a private subnet there, and private subnet has only private IPs. This means there is no connection to internet, and obviously there is no internet access as well. But if you want to give those private VMs the internet access, so then you can deploy a NAT gateway in AWS as well. Other than that, there are Amazon Virtual Private Cloud provides features that you can use to. So I'll just put that. So Amazon Private Virtual Cloud provides the features that you can use to increase and monitor the security for your virtual private cloud. So there's a Reachability Analyzer, and that is Reachability Analyzer. Reachability Analyzer is a static configuration analysis tool that enables you to analyze and debug network reachability between two resources in your VPC. So suppose you have two virtual machines in your VPC, so you can excuse me, connect those two resources to each other. Suppose you have two virtual machines there, and you want to see that if those virtual machines can reach each other and ping each other, then in that case you would go for this service. Obviously they will charge you for this service, but it does give you, suppose there were 200 virtual machines there, and those which machine can reach which other. So you can, for that scenario, you can just go for Reachability Analyzer. And then there is VPC flow logs there. You can monitor your VPC flow logs delivered to Amazon S3 or Amazon CloudWatch to gain operational visibility into your network dependencies and traffic patterns. So this is the word here, the main word to understand is operational visibility. So what's going on in the environment, how many virtual machines are connected to whichever network and whichever other services. So that's called the operational visibility. And then there is VPC Traffic Mirroring. So that is just to analyze traffic by copying the packets being released from the network interface of an EC2 instance. So those packets that are being released from a network interface card of a virtual machine can be copied and put into Traffic Analyzer tools to check what's going on with the bandwidth and traffic if suppose it is slow. Ingress routing. So that ingress just means inbound routing. So this allows you to route all incoming and outgoing traffic flowing to and from an internet gateway. So allows you to route. This is which route the traffic should take while it is, whether it is incoming or outgoing traffic. So that's what the ingress routing is. And then there is security groups. We already talked about that they allow and block source and destination IP address based traffic, as well as what kind of traffic, what kind of protocol, what kind of applications are allowed to send and receive traffic. And then there is network access control list. So a network access control list is an optional layer of security for your VPC that acts as a firewall for controlling traffic in and out of one or more subnets. So SG or security group is for allowing and blocking traffic for EC2 instances, while network access control list is there for allowing and blocking traffic for subnet. So subnet level security as well as machine level security is there. Other than that, you can have a lease line connection or a expensive fixed line connection that from your on-premises branch to the nearest AWS data center, and you're not going to be digging out lines under the earth, under the ground. You will be going for, or how does it work? Suppose you want dedicated connection from your branch to the nearest AWS data center. If you want dedicated, suppose you're connecting to Bell or Rogers. So and if you have purchased the direct connect, then what happens is that AWS may have already placed their routers in the data center of Bell and Rogers, because so many other companies may have also received direct connect. So your connection is connected actually to the AWS dedicated routers for your company, but AWS dedicated routers are actually placed inside the Bell data center if you had the Bell connection, or Rogers if you had the Rogers connection. So you connect directly to AWS routers, and until they are connected. So any other ISP would also have that connection until you have your traffic reaches the actual AWS data center. So your traffic never goes to the internet. They go through the dedicated AWS routers placed in different ISPs to take your traffic directly and dedicatedly with a lot of bandwidth to the nearest AWS data center. So that's what AWS Connect does. And yeah, so that's what we wanted to discuss all now. For the next week and next we're gonna go for week 14 for different services there, like CloudWatch, the Route 53 DNS, and some smaller services like SNS. These are also smaller services. SNS, which is a simple notification service, SQS, simple queue service, databases. So we're gonna try to check out those services in week 14, and then the week after that, week 15, we're gonna have our final quiz, just like the midterm quiz. So there are questions. Is there any way we could get labs marked before the final exam, just so I have an idea where I stand before the final trap session? Yeah, it is a final trap session. First of all, about the labs, it's pretty easy. If you have, if your screenshots are good, then rest assured that you got full marks for that. And but yeah, sure, I will try to just go for the final. Yeah, I will try to mark before the final. But if you think that you have uploaded all the screenshots correctly, then pretty much full marks. So anyway, but I will try to put that before the final trap. I mean marks. I mean exam. Okay. So Therese says here, was the screenshots from today supposed to have our student number in the notepad? Notepad, yes. Like you can put a name, or a number. So anything. That is good enough. If you put the name, that is good enough. And what else? So we only have 9 screenshots for this lab. Yes, we have only 9 screenshots for this lab. And I didn't put anything, David. Oh well, David did put the name, at least, and we did mention that at the start as well. So please have your name there, and go ahead and upload the screenshots to where. Well, I didn't create anything there, so let me just do that. Okay, so is there a difference between a security group and distribution list? So security group allows and blocks traffic. Distribution list is an email group that we create in Exchange server. So yeah, there's no comparison. Well, they are totally different things, services. Distribution group is just an email. No, every question is always welcome. No problem. No, it's okay. And what happens if there is no name? Cherry says, what happens if there is no name? That's a difficult one. So if there's no name, then put one. And assessment, upload week 13. So go ahead and refresh week 13 and upload it. And see you next week with some smaller topics. And after that, the final quiz. And have a nice stay-at-home order. Oh, did I say that? Okay. So yeah, have a nice next days. I have done to the whole lab on my own. It worked and it is screenshot done. What is the name and notepad? Everyone is talking. So name of the notepad they're asking. So I'm saying that yes, it should be your name. Like when you collect all the screenshots in a Word document, then just put the name of the Word document as your name. Or notepad. Okay, sure. Thank you. Alright guys, so this is it. See you next week, and I'll stop the video and mute the mic.